This is the left front fender that I got back from media blasting. I went ahead and spent some time cleaning it on the inside and the outside, but after it came back, we found a really thin spot here. So I cut that off. Before I cut it off, I made a paper pattern of it, put that onto a piece of metal and cut it, bent it, and shaped it. So that's ready to go back in. Nice patch. I did another patch down here, which you can kind of see. This corner had been, something had hit back here and bent it back in, and it had a little bit of rust, so I just went ahead and put a new piece in, made a new piece down here. That's the only rust I could find on these front fenders, both the left and right. They're pretty straight. Well, I spent a day yesterday working on the front fenders. I've got these holes filled, the patch done down there, the holes filled up here. I went ahead and fitted both the front fenders on just to make sure everything's lining up good. I still have to do some work up here. I'm going to leave this seam in here. The factory, you can see remnants of it here. They filled this, they bolted the fenders on and then filled this with lead, so there was no seam. Well, if you do that, you're not taking these fenders off, and they should be able to just bolt and unbolt back on, which I would like to have that available to do if I need to. So I'm going to have a seam like down here on the lower valance. So I'm going to be working on this, but I did get both front fenders on. They're ready for just a little bit of filler just to straighten out where I did some welds. Other than that, they're nice straight. The only rust on it was right down here that I repaired. The next thing I'm going to do is start working on the doors. I got the stud puller gun, so we'll be pulling these dents out on both of the doors. That's coming up next. I've been doing a lot of body work. There was nothing really bad. There was just a bunch of tiny little dents here and there on it, on the car. I'm pretty much there. I still have just a little bit of detail work to do. I do have some more priming and sanding to do, just to help smooth things out, but it's coming out real nice. You can see on the trunk lid here, what you're not seeing is I've already done a little bit of filler work around here where there was some dents. Up in this area there was kind of a little bit of a low spot. It's not very thick, but I did put some filler in this area. I still have to go over it and smooth this out even a little bit more. There's some low spots here, low spot over here. I still have some more sanding, a little bit of filling to do. You can see the inside. There's no major dents or anything in it, no rust. It's coming out pretty nice. I did have to put some seam sealer around in here. The factory put like a spacer in here, and it had deteriorated so bad that this whole thing you could push down, it would flex. So I put some seam sealer in here to help seal this up and make this stiff again. The trunk lid, you could come across here and push down on it, and it was like a drum. It's pretty solid now. That strengthened that up quite a bit. There was, like I said, there wasn't much filler anywhere. There's really no filler anywhere on any of this. And just a few spots on the roof I had to smooth out. The hood's pretty much done. I'll probably put another coat of filler primer on this and sand it again. The fenders are done. The front valance is done. The doors. I was hoping I could save the doors, but they had 2 large dents in them, which is kind of a bummer because the doors were virtually rust free, but they had they had some dents in here. I got them pulled out. It's difficult to get from the back side because of all the bracing that's in the behind here. So I had to use the little spot welder tool thing and pull out on these, stud puller I should say, and to pull the dent out. But you know, I got it pulled out okay, but there's just so many other little dents and imperfections on both the doors. Even the right door, the dent here was less, but there was a bunch of little dents all over in it, and it's something you would definitely see after the car's painted. I have the new door skins, so what I'm going to start today is start taking this outer skin off. I went across here with a little 2-inch grinder so I could see the spot welds a little bit better. They did a little bit of brazing here on both the front and rear corners, but I'm going to pop these welds here first. This is the spot weld cutter kit. I don't recall, but I think I got this at Harbor Freight. I don't recall. I might have got it through Amazon. I've had it for quite a few years. It comes with extra cutting stud cutters. I like to drill a pilot hole for the pin here. The pins, if I can get this out, the pins are spring loaded. I found that it's easier to use if you have a hole drilled in the center. This holds it in place better and less likely to break these little cutter teeth off. Anyway, I'm going to be getting to that pretty soon. Okay, I went across here and drilled out these spot welds. I think I got them all deep enough. There's a brazing here on this corner and on the back corner, but I think I don't want to distort this too much. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and grind these edges off and have this whole outer skin loose and then pull this. I don't want to distort this inner flange too much. I actually went through right there with the cutter, but that's okay. It won't show. There are a couple little tabs that they put on here that I came from behind here with a chisel and knocked those. I think they're just to hold this skin in place while you're re-welding this, re-spot welding this upper section. I'm going to go ahead and start grinding, get this off, and I'll show you where I'm at in a little bit. This is the angle grinder with the regular grinder wheel on it. You just go along the edge here, get it to where it's pretty thin, and then I pop it loose if it's still attached somewhat. Pop it loose with just a small chisel. This one just happened to pop right off. So these aren't welded on. These are just formed over this the inner door. So as you can see, it's just it's pretty clean. There's really no rust here. It's just a little bit of surface rust maybe. But yeah, this came off pretty nice. And then I'll just cut it loose. It's brazed right up here, but I'll chisel that loose, cut it loose. I'm going to go ahead along the bottom and then the other end, and this outer skin will be close to coming off. Okay, as I showed you before, I've got this side off. Let me finish getting this off. This front side's off. I have a little bit of brazing here. I'm going to hit this with a grinder a little bit on this back side on both those corners, and then I should be able to lift the front off. I got it off all the way around here. As you can see, it's just mainly just surface rust on here. This is the front section peeled off, and this is the bottom. This is the back side of the skin, the door skin. Again, it's just just surface rust, nothing bad. These little holes here is what I welded shut from the other side, and you can kind of see where I had the welding studs on the dent puller from the back side. The door The door doesn't look that bad, but it was just so wavy. I would have spent ages on this. A professional body shop could have probably straightened this out and made it look really good. I'm not a professional, so I would never have been able to make this door skin or this door look good. I could get it close, but I want it to look right, so it's just easier for me, and I think for the car, because I don't have to use any filler on these new fenders or these new door skins. So it's just better to replace them. I spent some time cleaning up all of these edges around here. I cleaned them off with the angle grinder and the small 2-inch die grinder. Got them cleaned off real nice all the way around and got the epoxy primer on. I've been putting the door skins on, but before I get too far along in this one, the right door skin, I kind of have it roughed in. It's just the flanges are just bent over. I wanted to show you this. I had to do some trimming here because that's kind of where there's a crease here on the outside of the door. So I wanted to kind of relieve that a little bit there, kind of like what they did up here. But these are bent over, hammered on. I'll probably be doing some little spot welds or something here in the corners just to fill some of this in, and also it'll be seam sealed. I'll try to get some seam sealer on the inside of the door. It's kind of difficult, but the main thing is getting some sealer around this. This came out real nice. When you're putting these on, you don't want to do any hammering on the outside of the door skin. You have to do it all from this side. And when you do it, you have to I use this something soft on the back side. I don't use any metal on this outer surface at all. Keep it somewhat of an angle and then just tap these over gently. It's a long process. Gosh, I've got probably at least 2 hours of tapping on the right door of just getting that on. The other thing you have to do is line things up. There's a chrome trim hole that's in here that I had to get lined up, which is this hole on the right door. You want to make sure that it fits the hole on the inside there, and also the door handles. I got the door handle on. This is another trim hole. You want to make sure that that lines up, and I put the door handle on just to make sure that it fits, so you don't have to ream out any holes later on. There was a little bit of trimming, not on this door but the other door, a little bit of trimming in this corner on the skin. It was rubbing. You can see where I trimmed this here, kind of like they did here, and I did a little trim here, and this one was already there. But anyway, I'm going to start tapping these over. I did use the Clecos to hold some of this together, and some little C-clamps. This outside area here is covered with a chrome piece, so I'm not really as concerned about any little tiny imperfections in the metal that I put in there. But this will hold everything in place while I start folding over the edges, which I'm going to start doing now. Yeah, this is where I try to do most of my primer painting. Yeah, it's a 10 by 10 tent. I can enclose it. The car's a little bit longer, but I tilted the plastic at one end. I'm almost ready to spray the underside with Raptor liner. I taped everything off where I don't want the Raptor liner. So the wheel wells are going to be the car color. Have some tape lifting there. The wheel wells are going to be the color of the car. That's what I've seen on a lot of the other 2002s. So everything you see gray here, I'm going to put Raptor liner on. I'm just kind of going to fog it up into this area here. I'm not going to be doing all of that, but I do want to get this area through here and the same down there. And then both of these frame rails that go up in the front where the front subframe attaches. A lot of this in here is going to be covered with the aluminum heat shield material that the factory put on. I have those cleaned up, so I might not put it real heavy in through this area here. I don't know, we'll see how much I have. But yeah, all this is going to be coated. This Raptor liner goes everywhere from when I sprayed it before, so I put plastic down on the ground. I'm sure some of it will get down there, and I just don't want to get it on my cement. And it also helps keep it a little cleaner in here. So I'm going to be spraying here in a little bit. Well, I got the Raptor liner on. I used 2 cans, and that gave me almost 2 full coats. The area here in the transmission tunnel, it already had a pretty heavy undercoating that the factory did, and all of that's covered with aluminum heat shield anyway, so I kind of saved that for last. If I had enough, I was going to spray it, but I ran out. But I got everything I wanted. I kind of blended it here in the front and got the back of the valance done, and the frame rails going out to the front. I got those. Like I said, almost all of this here in the center is covered with aluminum heat shield panels. But yeah, it looks good. Well, I apologize for not showing you the whole process here. After folding these edges over on the doors with the new door skins, I went around and cleaned up the edges, lightly sanded them down, and then put seam sealer on all of these seams. I let that set up for a day, and then I poured the epoxy primer. You can't really see it, but I poured epoxy primer on the inside of the door, and then so it would flow into all of these areas here that I folded over. It was kind of a long process, but I got it all in there. Not too much of it leaked out. These were pretty tight. After doing that, I went around all these edges with the epoxy primer. You can see it. You can see it here. These were all spot welded, and I ground down the spot welds on the outer side. None of this is visible because it's covered with a chrome trim piece. But you can see what the inside looks like there. I finished getting some filler primer on the doors and on the sunroof panel, inside and out. So I got that ready. I've got probably 3 coats on each one of these pieces. They feel pretty rough right now, but after they're wet sanded down, they'll be nice and smooth. Yeah, I just wanted you to see real quick all of the Raptor liner I sprayed on the bottom of the car. I've taped that off so when the car painting and when I do the wheel wells and the engine compartment and everything else on the car, none of that overspray will get down on the undercoating that I put on the Raptor liner. Yeah, taped everything off, all the chassis rails all the way to the back. I have been painting the car. The color is called Malaga Bordeaux. It's almost like a burgundy color, I guess. I had some issues that I originally had the gray primer, and I shot this color over the gray primer. It didn't come out right. I had sprayed the engine compartment in the trunk, and it was kind of a pinkish color, and it just didn't look right. What I found is the paint, the base color, was fairly transparent, or more transparent than I thought it would be. It's not a real heavy coat or thick coat. You know, like the instructions on the can said, 3 coats should cover. Well, this is more like 5. What I ended up doing was getting some black sealer and respraying the whole car in black, and that came out with the correct color now. It looks much better. I set a kind of a paint booth up out here on the side. The hood and the trunk lid are over there. I sprayed the color on the doors and the clear coat while the doors were mounted on the car, but because the hood and the trunk lid, I had to spray both sides. That's why they're kind of separate. They're not mounted quite yet. But I'm getting ready to put the trunk lid back on because I'm not going to be working on the car for a while. So I wanted to get things all kind of back together. I've got all the paper off the bottom that I had wrapped up to keep the overspray off. I got a little bit right here, but that's not too bad. I was just kind of trying to fit in some of the heat shields. I need to get some new nuts and washers for here to hold them in place. Yeah, it came out real nice. I'm happy with this. This area down here is all going to be painted black, so that's why there's no paint down here in this area. That's the rear heat shield. I've kind of cleaned up. These were really bad. They had a lot of tar and grease and oil and dirt. It took quite a bit to get them cleaned off. But all in all, it came out pretty good. Everything I saw online, the factory, when they did these cars, they did all the undercoating first in a gray, and then they sprayed whatever color on, and there was overspray all over underneath here. And I don't know, I wanted it to look nicer, so I taped everything off underneath so the overspray wouldn't get on this Raptor liner that I put on. Well, now that I got the paint on, that was kind of my goal here. I'm going to be going in for some surgery, so I'm going to be not working on the car for a little bit. I'm not going to put out a video for a while now until I get over my surgery, so recover from my surgery. So more later.